you can't just like, look at like, a tough matchup and just like say, all right, it's a tough matchup. It's always about innovating. It's about finding those new things. It's about changing. If you have a linear game plan, to flip it on its head a little bit. Yeah, so ZSS has the poking tools, but if I can get in like in the first place and not even like, waste so many resources on like, say the camping game, then suddenly that's how the matchup looks, or something the matchup is just completely changed.
I think it's also, just keep in mind too, that Zero Suit has good buttons, and her frame data is good, but it requires a certain rhythm to be able to consistently generate that pressure, just with the way like her back air is working, that she typically has to be in the air to apply that safe pressure. So if you're preemptively putting out hitboxes to interrupt her rhythm, it makes it a lot harder for her to consistently find that offense, which is what ultimately ended up happening there, and Gray did not have an answer once that change came through.
Yeah. ZSS is one of those weird characters where she really thrives on someone's poor defensive options as opposed to like, purely your own like, offensive options. ZSS will like, thrive if you get the roll reads with the down smashes. If you get like, the neutral get-ups like from ledge with nair and the flip kick. That's the stuff that really gets you those early stocks like when you're playing ZSS. And if you can't really get those, as we kind of like, soften that stock, if you can really just like be really content and kind of skip a lot of disadvantage, like how Ethan was playing with those safety blocks, then suddenly ZSS just looks tough to like, get in.
The piecemeal aspect of Zero Suit starts to kick in more, where if you're not getting those consistent openings, especially vertically, which he was not getting outside of a couple of exchanges, it makes it difficult to keep up with Steve's damage output, especially when Steve's getting those 0 to 50 combos, and Ethan's so good at them. But Gray has no time to recover here as these sets continue to roll through. So out goes Ethan and in goes the Verminator. So it'll be Zero Suit versus Greninja.
Yeah, and now instead of like, Gray being the one to press forward and like, like Ethan being the one to like, maintain his like space, the immovable force necessarily, now we have two unstoppable forces that are trying to go against each other with Greninja and with Luigi.
I'm not sure quite. I know that, as I was talking about earlier, Verm does have a couple of wins on Gray. He is the PR player he's beaten the most. So I'm not sure if it's been Zero Suit in those sets, if he thinks Luigi's going to be a better answer to what Greninja's trying to do. But we're about to find out.
He got the coin out, but yeah, Greninja has enough of this like of a good recovery to be able to make it back from that. You're not going to be dying unless you get hit by, say, like a Luigi Dare. But now a little bit of percent. Terminator's out of a little bit of that percent where he can die necessarily like right now, but a little more percent, and then suddenly we have down throw into the Cyclone. We can have down throw into up B as well. The world's your oyster when
you
you're
also
Luigi.
do Nair up B at a lot of these percents. That's been one of the new meta changes for Luigi, has been like landing Nair up B at those mid percents. You don't need to get a grab. But as we know, Greninja, very much a tried and true. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. A lot of those combos are very, straightforward, but they do a lot of damage. Verm knows how to find them. But finding his way out of disadvantage there after Gray goes for a side B in advantage. That was odd. Might have been a misinput.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but still these percents, like, especially like, for what I've typically seen, like, of Luigi's, Verminator is living to a relatively high percent, at least like to what I normally expect. I can almost expect like some fast attack, and not even from Luigi, but from the Verminator instead.
Fantastic call out on the defensive option with that down B from Verm, but Gray can immediately respond with that up smash to come through and keep things close. But you like to see those confident reads from Verm coming out in a set that you're definitely the underdog in.
Yeah. Like, when you're kind of coming in against, like, like an old guard, especially, like, like one on the PR, there is that idea, like, almost like the PR effect, or, like, almost like the aura that kind of, like, surrounds someone. You have to dissuade that. You have to brush that aside. You have to go in with a complete another confidence, because if you don't, then you're not really going to be sealing out those games. You're not going to be winning those game 5s necessarily.
Yeah, just coming in with that confidence to go for those reads is so important. Verm continues to grow this lead slowly but surely. Over 100% on this Luigi. A lot from Greninja in the corner will do it. I get down throw Nair. Was definitely looking for a fair there. That would have been the stock.
That was an option. I kind of like it. Down tilt, though, into the fair will be sealing out that stock. And Verm only at 47%. This could be prime Luigi combo percent. I'm not sure about killing just yet. But, yeah, we just have not been seeing a lot of these combos. A lot of these grabs as well coming out from Gray, as he does manage to land one, but only a fair as the follow-up off of that. Now we can see instead the DI mix-up I like that option. I like that mix-up at that point.
Gray was just continuing to take the damage that was there, wasn't looking for the finisher with the up B, and that ends up paying dividends for him to get back into this game. Continues to rack up this damage. Luigi does have that nair to get out of these Greninja combos, just has not necessarily had the opportunity to, but just continues to push Firm across the stage as he tacks on little by little when it comes to percent.
He's trying to get like something a little bit close, but now all these players, they're looking for that next big thing. Gray knows as soon as that up tilt comes out, he could possibly link that into an upbeat. This could spell the end, at least like for the Verminator's first game, just like that. Just like that, just like this. And now, the Luigi's looking good.
Yeah, and there was a lot of situations in that game one where he would get the up tilt, and I kept waiting for the up B to come out, but he just did not let it rip, so I don't know if he just wasn't confident in the angle, but that one he absolutely was, and that ends up being the difference maker in that game one, where it was kind of a Gray at the beginning, Firm in the middle, Gray at the end.
Yeah. It's all about like the different states of the game, and the most important one at the very end is, can you close those games? Because that's what shows on the scoreboard. TOs don't care if it was a close 3-0. They only care that it was a 3-0.
Exactly. And Gray is definitely a closer. He is a clutch player, no doubt. But Verm is made his way here. He got those summit votes. He ate those insects. He wants to be here, and he is definitely not going to go down without a fight as we make our way back into PS2 for this game, too.
Already looking like, for a little bit of these S smashes. And also, that rising nair out of shield, that's a relatively like new meta development as well that I've seen from quite a few of the Luigis, primarily Raru. But it has been like pretty good because you're able to like do another move afterward. You're still actionable before you hit the ground again. And with the quick frame data that Luigi has, you could do anything you want. You have Cyclone, everything that you could ever want.
A character that's seen very linear early on in the game has had his meta slowly but surely develop. Really great buttons all around for Luigi, so he's not the grab monster exclusive that he used to be. As you see the character continue to grow in the meta, as Gray gets more and more comfortable with this character as a co-main, but Verminator are going to catch him on the platform there with an up smash to interrupt that Cyclone.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen Greninja up smash mess up, but still work out. Still get the kill.
The character is known to mess up their own players, but finally giving one back to the little guy there, but Gray getting it back to work here. Really has not been able to find those big grab combos you'd expect from Luigi.
Yeah, he's been getting the 2 or the 3 pieces, but I mean, in terms of like the typical Luigi zero deaths that we've seen, we haven't seen one just yet. I don't know if that's specifically about Greninja just being like a little slippery fraud that he is, but it could be. But now we have a little bit of a jab lock as Verminator is also starting to pile up a little bit more of this damage.
Has Gray in the corner, cutting in this deficit little by little, cut by cut. But finally going to get back on stage as Gray, but then he's going to dash attack to the corner and force himself back off. Verm's playing so patient right now.
He's like waiting for Gray to throw out those grabs to like make that first move, because Greninja just as a character, you have those down tilts and you have like one of the best dash attacks for like combo starters if you want to in the game. You have the ability to just start anything from further away than a lot of other characters would typically normally get to.
And just making the most of this character's toolkit right now, taking Gray for a ride with those up air juggles. And as Luigi, you need to find those up close kills like that. That up smash isn't going to take it, but the next one absolutely will. Gray needs to stop the bleeding and find this stock.
Gray is happy to just sit and shield. Gray is happy to just run up. He does not want to be in the air, but that's a great up smash coming out from the Verminator. And now Gray, relatively high, still going to land back into that Cyclone, and Gray will gladly take that to take the stock.
This is Luigi with one good grab conversion. This can be the stock. He is looking for it. Does he find it? Does he convert it? He only gets the 1 coin, and that's going to be the difference between going up 2-0 and a 1-1 scenario.
You also saw that Gray, as he was falling down with the up B, actually was landing initially on the platform and then fell through. But Verminator was quick enough to where that up smash would catch literally everything. If he was still on the platform, then he's dead. But even though Gray tried to fall through, he didn't get hit by any sour heads. Verminator will gladly take that. And
you got to go for those if you're Gray in that scenario, though. You're down a lot of percent, and if you land that, it is a game win for you. It just did not go, the cookie did not crumble the way he wanted it to, so now he's in an even set rather than up 2-0.
A little bit of these Cyclones as well, wanting to get away from this Verminator combo blender potential. And Now, both these two, they're looking for those initial combo hits. Verminator's trying to look for these nairs, but not quite be able to land it just yet, as Gray is able to get a little bit more of these airs. A little more of these like neutral interactions that don't necessarily rely on the grab, as much as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, just boxing with a lot of the good buttons that Luigi does have. Going to look for that up tilt up B. It's going to find its mark, and now Gray, taking that game, the first stock in this game 3. Very pivotal. I thought Gray might have gotten stuck under the stage there.
Good on him, though. He's like to keep that up B immediately and just get back to the ledge. Shuriken doesn't have a jump, but he still does have quite a few of his resources.
Such a good interruption from Verm just to keep his body in the way of that green missile from Luigi. It's going to be the end of Gray's stock there, but still has himself a bit of a lead. That was such great awareness from Verminator.
It's always like so dangerous because Luigi is one of those characters where people are so afraid to like challenge him off stage, especially when he's on stage, such a threat like that and able to get a kill with the up B. But now it's a question of like, how can Verm respond? How can Verm get Gray off stage and kind of seal out the stock? Because now Gray. I think
just hit replay on that one stock, that second stock to the third stock, man. That was just an exact same scenario.
We talked about how Gray was essentially getting like only the grab 2-piece combos. I think the 0 death's been unlocked. It's like it's like upgrading your character as you go along through the match. He's becoming stronger as he goes on.
He did the completions, he got the bonuses, so now he is all powered up. And maybe he just need to get those hands warmed up on the Luigi. I've been playing Zero Suit in the last set, so now he has those combos unlocked. That just completely shifts the dynamic of this set.
It feels like it's fever time right now for Gray as he is starting in the overdrive. Now the question is, can Verminator stop this? Can Verminator bring this to a game number 5? Gets the bear at least like to poke out of Gray and get him off the ledge. But now we have a grab. Not going to be able to kill just yet, but good damage with the linkage of the up air and the bear. Now.
Great DI from Verm. Gray not reading the DI out. So now Gray's going to live to, Verm's going to live to see another day on this first stop, but still down quite a bit of percent. And he's also been spending the vast majority of this game in the corner.
Yeah, which is quite interesting, because on one hand, I do kind of agree with it because you want to be avoiding those Luigi 0 deaths on stage. You want to be falling off stage if you get hit by those dares, but Gray's also been doing so well at the ledge and covering it with those bears.
Great response from Gray just to keep himself in the lead of this game. But a lot from Greninja in the corner, especially if you can find a fair in the right spot, will be the end of it, especially a down tilt up smash. But Gray's just trying to stay off stage in the right spot to avoid this try. I don't know if he was just trying to get the damage from the strong hit, the super jump punch there, but that ends up being it for him.
Yeah, I don't know if that was what he was going for there. I don't know. I never know.
He was cooking, but it was burn.
This is true. It was burn.
It was burn.
I love that idea with the jab, but not going to send far enough. So that air dodge from Luigi is so good. Still have enough distance actually to make it back to the ledge, because otherwise that could have been a dead Gray at a relatively early percent.
Verm's been so good at putting on pressure when he does get Gray off stage. Gray's been so good about getting the most out of his damage when he gets those hit neutral. So it's really been a matter of what element of the game are we in for who has the advantage.
Right now it seems like both these players, they're vying for that initial advantage state. Another charge F smash or up smash. It's not quite going to hit just yet, as now both these players, they're looking for how they're going to seal out their second stocks, as they're relatively even now.
Another down B from Luigi will kill sooner than later, especially as he gets those plungers attack on a loaded percent. That was incredible DI from Verm to avoid that down smash scenario.
In addition as well, like the little hop actually after Greninja would up B into the stage is the typical, the green missile into the stage, the rising cyclone. You don't really expect it, but it will take the stock.
You just feel bad to get hit by that when that does happen. Verm has been so good at those corner pressure scenarios just to avoid the last big hit, but Gray pulling that one out when he needed to the most. If you try to end this with a 3-1 rather than having to go into a game 5, you want to keep that stamina for the rest of the pool.
Another thing about the stamina, one of the hardest things to keep in mind for the set is to try and pay mind to the options that players have not shown you yet. It is exhausting to keep that in mind and still be responding to how all these players have been reacting and adapting to their opponents in these sets.
those two, just trading back and forth. A lot of hits coming through, no meaningful opening yet. But Verm starting to get a little bit of offense here, but that up tilt again, Gray continues to use that as a strong anti-air.
Yeah, it's been a good anti-air. It's also been an anti-air that's been netting the stocks, at least like in this game so far, or this entire set. There's that, the down tilt. Not quite gonna kill us just yet, and a good down smash. Piling some good damage onto Gray. Forward tilt.
You always forget about it until it comes through, and then you go, I died that early? It's a cheeky little move because it's pretty slow. The hitbox isn't that big, but it can finish out stocks in the corner like it did there.
Yeah. Forward tilts are one of those moves where I'm just like, I always forget that they exist, honestly, in some respects. I don't know. That's just me. I see this from like, a lot of like, other characters, but I mean, it paid out there. It got the stock. I finally saw a forward tilt pay out for a Wisconsin Smasher.
Well, forward tilt definitely. If you know Starman, he loves that forward tilt to take stock. It's not something you see Verm use too often, but as you're talking about saving those kill moves for when you absolutely need them, and he does there to get himself into a game 5.
And now I'm wondering, at least like, what have these players been holding into the tank? This is where you suddenly show all your cards. Down throw into the Cyclone. We haven't really seen actually that kill confirmed too much in this set so far. He's gonna get some good damage, and another Cyclone as well. Barely gonna be living though from Verm. Now we have at least like, Verm at the edge again. Gray is like, waiting at the edge. He's looking for something. I don't know if there's gonna be possibly a down tilt. These plungers though, Verminator just can't get back.
Yeah, that's a lot of percent to take in disadvantage. Like, yes, you're taking the smaller L in order to live, but the down B is going to absolutely close it out at that percent. So death by 1,000 cuts ultimately ends where it began with that Cyclone.
Yeah, these Cyclones have been paying out in dividends for Gray at this point. I mean, it's good at least like, like when you have like a large vacuuming in move that's trying to attack Greninja, where primarily spacing-based character, you want to like, be able to be right outside of the dash attack space. It's just messing up a little bit, and it's been paying out for Gray.
And that might be, that's going to barely survive for Verm. He really needed to live there just to try to have a chance in this set, but still has not been able to clear off this first one from Gray. And Gray already hunting for that one. That second stock need is going to be yet another Cyclone.
It's another Cyclone because Verm, he wants to get that stock, but he knows that he has to get in. That's like the one place you don't want to be against Luigi at this point.
Oh no! That was so good from Gray. That could have been it if he had gotten the down air spike. But they're both going to make it back, but Gray is just getting right back to work with this offense.
And now I'm seeing a lot of these Greninja down airs. I'm not sure what's going to happen at this point.
Spot dodge up B is going to get it done at 40%. And Gray just made every single adjustment that he needed to in that last game.
It felt like his Luigi got stronger as the set went on. I mean, he was landing his confirms. He was landing his combo trees. It felt like it was branching out a lot more than what it was at the start. And you kind of alluded to the point, like, it's kind of tough to be like a dual main because you're swapping between, like, two rhythms of gameplay like that. And ZSS and Luigi, all things considered, very different characters in terms of the rhythm.
I'm definitely going to age myself with this, but Bro started hearing the song Cyclone in his head as that set went on. With the got me moving like a cyclone. Because that was the answer for pretty much everything in that game 5. It was the answer to get out of disadvantage. It was the answer to take stocks. It was the answer really just to interrupt anything that Verm was going for. And Verm just did not adapt back. He's someone that typically has a strong game plan in a set. But if that game plan gets adapted upon, it's a lot harder than to respond. And Gray just had the last say in it.
Yeah. There's a difference between, like, adapting between the sets versus, like, adapting, like, in the set and then also, like, adapting, like, in the game. And good stuff from, like, from Gray, able to, like, still close out at least, like, that game, even if it was a game 5.
Pizza? Can we
Pizza?
eat on-coms? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, we're in between games, we're going to grab some pizza.
I would love some pizza.
We'll be right back.